Good morning, students. In the previous lecture, we discussed about the preparation of the alkanes. In that particular lecture, there was three main compounds from which we were derived our alkanes. The first compound was unsaturated hydrocarbons. So alkene and alkyne are going to be useful for the preparation of alkane. After that, we derived our alkane from the alkyl halide compounds. After that, we used carboxylic acid. In today's lecture, we are going to continue our journey in the hydrocarbon compounds. So today's first topic is physical properties of alkanes. Okay. Now the first physical property is alkane compounds are non-polar in nature. Alkane compounds are non-polar in nature. Why? Because carbon-carbon single bond and carbon-hydrogen sigma bond are strong and there is a less difference of electronegativity between carbon and hydrogen. That's why alkane compounds are non-polar plus bond are covalent. Second thing, because of the non-polar nature of the molecule, the van der Waals forces between two molecules are less. That's why first four carbon containing compounds, one carbon containing two, four carbon containing compounds are in a gaseous state. 5 carbon containing compound to the 17 carbon containing compounds are in the liquid state, and more than 18 or 18 carbon containing compound are in the solid form. Because as the atomic mass increases, van der Waals forces increases. That's why up to 4 carbon compounds are in the gaseous form, up to 17 carbon compounds are in the liquid form, and up to more than 18 carbon containing compounds are in the solid form. After that, all the alkanes are colorless and odorless. All the alkanes are colorless and odorless. Main important thing, they are insoluble in water. Let's take an example. If you have a methane gas, if you dip the vessel of methane gas into the beaker, no gas is going to be dissolved into the water. All the gas will be bubbled out of the water because methane is insoluble in water. Other than that, our regular life examples, vegetable ghee, then kerosene, petrol, these compounds are a mixture of hydrocarbon compounds, or you can say alkane compounds, but they are insoluble in water. Why? Because they are non-polar. Alkanes are non-polar, whereas water is polar in nature. We already studied that polar compound cannot dissolve non-polar compounds, but polar compound can dissolve polar compounds, and non-polar compound can dissolve non-polar compound. So, for example, if you have any stretches of the oil on your shirt, water cannot remove it. But if you use kerosene, the oil will be dissolved in the kerosene and the stretches will be removed. So that is the thing. Alkanes are soluble in organic solvents like benzene, kerosene, petrol, ether, but they are insoluble in water. Why? Because the polar compound dissolves in the polar solvent and non-polar compound dissolves in the non-polar solvent. Organic solvents are mostly non-polar. After that, let's talk about the boiling point and the melting point. So the rule is, as molecular mass increases, as molecular mass increases, boiling point increases. It is quite simple, because suppose this is our compound. First there was only one carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth, fifth carbon. So if there is only one carbon, the area of the surface will be like this much. If there is two carbon, area will be like this much. If there is a three carbon, area will be like this much amount. Because of that, as the carbon added, as the molecular mass increases, the surface area increases, and as the surface area increases, van der Waals forces increases, and its boiling point is going to be increased. So as the surface area of the compound increases, boiling point increases, and as the surface area of compound decreases, boiling point decreases. Okay, so methane have less boiling point than ethane. Ethane has less boiling point than propane. Propane has less boiling point than butane, and butane has less boiling point than pentane. Now let's talk about the isomerism. More branch, less boiling point. Okay, suppose this is the pentane. This is my pentane, and I am removing one carbon from it and attaching on the third carbon. What will happen? Now look at the surface area. First surface area was this much. Now surface area is decreased to this. That's why as the branch increases, surface area decreases, and because the surface area decreases, boiling point also decreases. That's why normal pentane have a boiling point of 309.1 Kelvin, whereas isopentane, okay, the IUPAC name of isopentane is 2-methyl butane, will be decreased to 300.9. Now the neopentane. Neopentane IUPAC name will be 2,2-dimethyl propane. There is two branches, that's why the boiling point decreased more. So boiling point will be 282.5 Kelvin. Okay, that was all about the physical properties of the alkanes. Now let's talk about the chemical properties. Okay, first of all, when we discovered some of the common facts about the alkane as we started the 10th chapter, at that time I told you that alkanes are also known as a saturated hydrocarbons, or you can say paraffins. Paraffin means less reactivity, or you can say inactive compounds. In the sense, alkanes are inactive. They do not want to participate in any reaction. That's why they do not react with acid, base, oxidizing reagent, reducing reagents. They do not react it. They do not give any type of addition reaction because they do not have any pi bonds. So their reactivity are much less, and only some of the reactions are observed on the basis of alkane. Among them, the first type of reaction was substitution reaction. First reaction was substitution reaction. Okay, which functional groups are going to substitute hydrogen of the alkane? Halogens. Halogen means fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Nitro, sulfonic acid. This type of functional group are going to react with alkane at a severe condition, or you can say a very high temperature or pressure. Among them, nitration and sulfonation is only available at a higher number of carbon compounds. So we are not going to study that over here. So in the substitution reaction, we have only halogenation to study. Halogenation. Among them, we are going to study briefly chlorination. How chlorination works. So suppose we have methane. So methane reacts with the dichlorine in the presence of sunlight, or you can say ultraviolet lights. If you do not have sunlight or ultraviolet light, you have to use 573 Kelvin to 673 Kelvin temperature. Then and then this reaction will occur. As I told you, reaction will be severe, or you can say difficult. So when these two reacts with each other, one hydrogen will be substituted with the chlorine and CH3Cl will be formed, as well as HCl as a byproduct. If you have more amount of chlorine, that CH3Cl will again release one hydrogen and add one chlorine. So CH2Cl2, CH3Cl plus Cl2, again one hydrogen is removed, one chlorine is added. So CH2Cl2 plus HCl. Likewise, if you again do that, same step will occur and one hydrogen will be removed. CHCl3 will be formed and last hydrogen will be eliminated. If you still have more chlorine, it will form CCl4. So total 4 mole of chlorine molecules will react with the methane and remove 4 hydrogen and add 4 chlorine. That's why this reaction is known as a halogenation substitution reaction. Now let's talk about the order, or you can say speed of the reaction. If we talk on the preference of the halogens, fluorine are the most reactive. After that, chlorine is less reactive than fluorine, bromine is less reactive than chlorine, and iodine is the least reactive among the halogens. The reaction of fluorine is so much vigorous that it will give us enormous amount of energy. But for now, we can control it. Right now, it is not included in your syllabus to study the fluorination. That's why we are going to study the chlorination. Bromine also gives the same reaction as the chlorine. Iodine gives the slowest reaction among the halogens. Iodine gives slowest reaction. That's why iodine gives reversible reaction. What does mean by reversible reaction? That means the reagent and the product will occur simultaneously. In the sense, product converts into reagent, reagent convert into product convert into reagent. Reaction which occurs both the ways are known as a reversible reaction. So iodination is reversible. As you can see it, the arrow is both the ways, not a one way. So for that, if you want to make this reaction irreversible, then you have to add oxidizing agent like iodic acid, HiO3 or HNO3, so that the Hi will be used and product cannot convert into reagent. Now, speed order of the alkane. Tertiary alkane are the most reactive, after that secondary alkane, and after that primary alkanes. Okay, in the previous chapter, I told you that electron transfer moment will be used in the mechanism of any reaction. So our first mechanism and the most IMP mechanism from this chapter, free radical substitution chlorination. Free radical substitution chlorination. Okay, there are total 3 steps: initiation, propagation and termination. Okay, let's talk about the initiation. We have total 3 type of bonds: carbon-carbon bond, carbon-hydrogen bond, and chlorine-chlorine bond. Among these 3 bond, chlorine-chlorine bond is least stable. That's why in the presence of sunlight, this bond is going to be under the fission. Which fission? Homolytic fission. And because of homolytic fission, homolysis, it will give me free radicals. It will give me free radical, chlorine free radical. This is the initiation. In the methane, you know that carbon-carbon bond in the ethane and carbon-hydrogen bond in the methane are stronger than chlorine-chlorine bond. So, free radical will be formed on the basis of the chlorine. Our second step, propagation. Pay attention, because this much amount of detail is not given in your textbook. So, let's talk about this. In the methane, carbon-hydrogen bond will be under the homolysis. One electron will be on the carbon, one electron will be on the hydrogen. Now, among them, which one is unstable? Hydrogen free radical is unstable. So, it will directly react with the chlorine free radical. It will give me HCl. And methyl CH3 free radical will form. That CH3 free radical will again counterattack on the chlorine-chlorine bond, another molecule of Cl2, and again homolysis occurs. This chlorine will be contained by CH3 and again chlorine free radical occurs. That chlorine free radical again reacts with the methane and a chain reaction occurs, and that will give me methyl free radical again eliminate the molecule of Cl2. That will give me Cl free radical again reacts with the methane, again Cl, again methane. So a chain reaction occurs until the amount of methane is used, or you can say amount of chlorine has been used. If amount of methane has been used, it is completely used and converted into CH3Cl, then our next type of chain reaction occurs, type number 2. These two will be now my reagent. So these two will be the reagent. Again the same procedure occurs. Carbon-hydrogen bond under the homolysis. Hydrogen reacts with the chlorine and gives me HCl, and CH2Cl free radical will occur. That CH2Cl free radical reacts with the chlorine molecule Cl2 and will give me chlorine free radical. So again chlorine free radical reacts with CH3Cl and give me CH2Cl2. Again Cl free radical reacts with CH3Cl. This will go on and on up to all the CH3Cl is converted to CH2Cl2. If you have still left amount of Cl2, third step occurs. CH2Cl2 converted to CHCl3 in the same manner, and if you still have chlorine, that will be converted into CCl4. Nothing has been changed. Hydrogen has been eliminated in all the steps and chlorine is added. That was the propagation. Suppose any one of the reagent is finished. Suppose chlorine has been finished. What will happen? Termination will occur. Okay. How many amount of product are there? Look at this. HCl has been formed. Don't box the free radicals. After that, CH3Cl. After that, CH2Cl2. Then CHCl3 and CCl4. Total 5 products have been there from this reaction. In the termination, if chlorine, when two free radical reacts with each other, a chain reaction will stop. So ClCl free radical reacts with each other, Cl2, that is our reagent, so it doesn't matter. If CH3 and Cl free radical reacts with each other, CH3 and Cl free radical, this product, these two occurs, this product, this two occurs, this product, and this two occurs, this product. It is termination when two free radical reacts with each other. But this is the most important. If two methyl free radical reacts with each other, it gives me ethane. And that is the byproduct of this reaction. Clear? Two methyl free radical reacts with each other and gives me ethane molecule. Ethane is the byproduct of free radical substitution, halogenation. Okay, so that was all about the halogenation. Now let's talk about the second type of the reaction that is given by the alkane, that is combustion reaction. It is quite simple, combustion reaction. We use the combustion reaction of alkane in our daily life. Petrol is a mixture of alkanes, kerosene is a mixture of alkane. We use that compounds as a fuel because when they combust, they release a high amount of energy, and that energy has been used by us. So first of all, a common reaction for the combustion of the alkane, it is quite simple. As I already told you these reactions, this is the common formula of alkane, CnH2n. If n number of carbons are there, n CO2 will be formed. So if n carbon is there, n CO2 will be there. Half of the hydrogen will be converted into H2O. So 2n plus 2. So number of mole of H2O will be half of that. 2 will be divided. So n plus 1. So n plus 1 H2O will be there. Now moles of the oxygen, look at this. O2, O2. So if n CO2 is formed, n number of O2 is used. Now for H2O, O2 and O. So 1 O2 gives me double amount of H2O. So if n plus 1 H2O is there, half of the O2 will be there. So n plus 1 divided by 2. The simplification of this particular formula will be 2n plus n plus 1. So 3n plus 1 by 2. Or you can use it in a simple manner. Suppose we have methane, 1 carbon, so 1 carbon dioxide, 4 hydrogen, so 2 H2O. Carbon 2O2, half of the H2O. So 1 plus 1, 2. For butane, 4 carbon, 4 CO2, 10 hydrogen, 5 H2O. 4 to 4. So 4 and half of this. So 4 plus 2.5. 6.5. In the sense 13 by 2 O2 will be there. Methane releases 890 kilojoule energy per 1 mole, and butane, a main constituent of the LPG, releases 2875.84 kilojoule energy per 1 mole combustion. That was complete combustion reaction. Complete combustion reaction. Suppose we have insufficient amount of oxygen, a black colored fumes will be there. That is known as a carbon black, because carbon cannot be converted into carbon dioxide in the insufficient presence of oxygen. So incomplete combustion occurs, carbon will be converted as methane will be converted into carbon, and hydrogen will be converted into H2O as it is. 4 hydrogen, so 2 H2O, and carbon will be remain as a carbon black, which is used as a ink in printers and many other things. After that, controlled oxidation. I told you strictly, alkane do not react with oxidizing agent. Still we want to use oxidizing agent. So we have to simply provide a difficult condition, means higher temperature and higher pressure. Suppose we use mildest oxidizing agent, or you can say copper, in the presence of 523 Kelvin temperature and 100 atmospheric pressure, then methane will be converted into methanol. If you use copper, alcohol will form. If you use Mn2O3, methanol will form. And if you use manganese acetate, carboxylic acid is going to be formed. Remember the reaction condition. Copper 523 Kelvin temperature and 100 atmospheric pressure. It will give me methanol. If you use stronger oxidizing agent, Mn2O3, it will give me aldehyde. So methane converted to methanol. And if you use manganese acetate, then it will be converted into the carboxylic acid. So ethane will be converted into ethanoic acid. Remember these three types and the conditions. When the M2O3 used, 1 mole of H2O is released, and when acetate, manganese acetate is used, 2 mole of H2O is released. Suppose we want to use potassium permanganate, not the oxygen, directly potassium. It is controlled oxidation. O2 is also here, but it is complete combustion. It is controlled oxidation in the presence of this type of catalyst. Suppose we use KMnO4, a proper oxidizing agent. As I told you, alkane is not interested in it. But only tertiary hydrogen containing compound will react with KMnO4 and give me tertiary alcohol. H converted to OH, simple. So 2-methyl propane converted into 2-methyl propane to all. This is most IMP for you guys. Oxidation reaction of alkanes. These two values will be IMP for the MCQs. This is for GNET. Okay, this is for your board examination. After that, our next type of the reaction was isomerization. It is quite simple. Suppose we have straight chain compound. If we use anhydrous LCl3 in the presence of hydrochloric acid, branch will form. Isomerism occurs. So hexane will be converted into 2-methylpentane and 3-methylpentane. And many other isomers also. Hexane have different isomers. It is monobranch isomers. Monobranch isomers will be in the most proportion. Total 98 proportion will be of these two. Another 2% will be the other compound. That's why I have written only 2 isomers of the hexane. So that was all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to study some more chemical reaction of the alkanes. So thank you so much.